question is how does alcohol affect sleep? Well, let's talk about it. What might seem like a benefit might be short term, but definitely long term, it's something to think twice about. You will have faster sleep onset. In the literature, this is more referred to reduced sleep latency. This is latency is go to bed, how long till you fall asleep. This makes more sense as far as English goes, but this is what it's technically called. Okay, but let's look at what's actually happening. You're faster to slow wave sleep than normal. And again, that in and of itself is not the end of the world, but let's see what else. You see less REM in early sleep. That might not be too big a problem, but you do get REM rebound later in sleep. See, when you're REM deprived, either experimentally or through substances like alcohol, you are liable to get a rebound REM phenomenon. We'll talk more about this in a minute. Now, you are going to get more slow wave sleep than normal, but is there a cost? And there likely is. You want to think about that. And it likely will be at the cost of lighter, earlier stages of sleep and or REM. Now, we don't know enough about sleep for healthy situations, let alone to be able to really dissect the consequences of shifting the ratio of slow wave sleep versus shallower sleep. But almost always, when you perturb the natural uh, biological system, the results are not ideal. You will also get worse sleep apnea. Sleep apnea, I'll talk about in a bit, is a sleep disorder. You will also get worsened sleepwalking problems. Now, how about cannabis? Now, studies, as you can imagine, are more limited with cannabis than with alcohol, being that cannabis has been illegal largely and therefore that much harder to study. But let's look at a few studies I found that were interesting and I want to highlight. This 75 study, long time ago, chronic users, and these are small studies. I think there were maybe 9 or 10 in this study, look, 2 in this study, so very small sample sizes. But chronic users were shown to have reduced rapid eye movements and associated REM sleep because there's not necessarily going to be you could imagine, not necessarily a one-to-one ratio between the actual rapid eye movements and REM sleep measured by EEG, and that sometimes you might see a disconnect. Uh, you do see REM rebound upon withdrawal. This is something a lot of users will tell you when they stop using. They have vivid and intense dreams. And they will also, a lot of people will tell you that upon chronic use, dreams seem to go away, or at least are not remembered. That's supported at least by this study with reduced REM. Um, so you do get actual REM rebound, which is accompanied by a small decrease in slow wave sleep. There's a ratio change, as we talked about. This study found that prolonged use might suppress slow wave sleep. This was done on a pair of brothers. I don't think they were twins. So it was just a very tiny study. But at least in this study, there was no REM rebound. But I tend to believe that there is, based on almost universal experience with marijuana withdrawal. I should say cannabis withdrawal. This was a review that looked at all the literature way beyond what I was interested in looking into, and they concluded that there's in short-term use, it does reduce time. It being full plant cannabis does reduce time to sleep, so sleep latency is reduced, faster to sleep. However, long-term use increases time to sleep. How about CBD? There's even more limited evidence on CBD, but there's a hypothesis anyway that low doses of CBD might actually cause insomnia and or be a treatment for excessive daytime sleepiness, which is a symptom of most sleep disorders. Uh, Higher doses, though, do seem to get you to sleep faster and maybe keep you sleeping longer.